Hello and welcome to ProjectWise Administrator Fundamentals Accreditation course. ProjectWise links. In this lesson, we will learn how to create ProjectWise links to folders and documents and to be used as desktop shortcut. We will also learn how to compile and send an email with the folder and document links, as well as referencing a ProjectWise document in an Excel or Word file. We will also learn the difference between URL and URN links. Finally, we will learn to generate ProjectWise links to be accessible by Microsoft Teams or Google Chrome or even Microsoft Edge. I want to start off this lesson with a couple of tricks that hopefully can entice you, especially to those of you who rely heavily on your Windows desktop. Did you know that you can create ProjectWise links on your desktop? Let's see how that can be done. For instance, in the next few weeks or even months, we will be working on the BSI 300 project or the work area, or the following day or two, we will be working on a couple of ProjectWise documents. In order to create the ProjectWise links, we will need to log into ProjectWise first. Then simply select the document or documents, drag, and then drop it onto the desktop. So here we have two desktop icons that access to two different ProjectWise documents. Similarly, we can select the BSI 300 work area and then drag and drop it onto the desktop. To be clear though, this is just a quick access or the links to the ProjectWise documents or folders. Users will need to have access to these ProjectWise folders and documents in order to access the links. So as you can see, when I double click on this shortcut link, and since I have access to the BSI 300 project, it will directly point me to the BSI 300 work area in ProjectWise. It would be a great idea to know ahead of time. These shortcut links were created based on ProjectWise URL, and it stands for Uniform Resource Locator. You might ask, what exactly does that mean? As long as the ProjectWise folder that holds the document, its folder name doesn't change, or the document doesn't get moved to a different location, then the shortcut link will always be valid. As soon as we rename the folder, we will find when accessing the link again, we will get the error message that it could not find the ProjectWise document. So just remember that whenever we created the shortcut links, renaming of the folder, as well as moving the document to a different ProjectWise folder, the shortcut link will become invalid. We can use ProjectWise URN, which stands for Uniform Resource Name, to create shortcut links. Creating shortcut links using URN guarantees that the link is always valid, even if the folder name gets changed or the document moves to a different location. There is a setting that we can enable to make sure that users will always use the URN rather than URL to create the shortcut links. But first of all, let's go ahead and delete those shortcut links that we created using the URL, as it could become invalid. So the user settings that ensures users always use the URN can be found from the ProjectWise menu, Tools, Options, go to the Settings tab, User Interface, enable Use URN Links, and then hit Apply. As ProjectWise administrators, we want every ProjectWise user to have this option enabled. So let's go ahead and hit OK. So once that setting has been enabled for the ProjectWise user, now if the user drag and drop a document to the desktop, this time it will use the URL to create the shortcut link. So from a user standpoint, this is completely transparent to the users. They just know that the shortcut links have been created and it is always valid, regardless if the folder name changes or the document moves to a different location. So let's do a quick summary regarding desktop shortcut links to ProjectWise folders and documents. It uses URL, Uniform Resource Locator, to create the desktop shortcut, and it can become invalid when the folder name changes or the document moves to a different location. When it uses URL to create the desktop shortcut, the link is always valid. But the user setting needs to be enabled to use URL, and it can be found under User Settings, User Interface, and then enable Use URL links. Next, we are going to see how we can send email directly from within ProjectWise. We can choose to embed the document links or attach the documents directly in an email. To do so, select the document or documents, and then right mouse click, send to, mail recipient. Using this method, the documents will be attached to the email, or mail recipient as link. This will open up an email message with a link to the ProjectWise documents already embedded. We can just specify the recipient, and then the email will be sent. If it is an email attachment, the recipient doesn't need to have access to ProjectWise. However, if the email contains the ProjectWise link, then the recipient will need to have access to ProjectWise. There are times we may have a document which we want to reference other documents. Here we have an Excel file which we want to reference a PDF document in ProjectWise. Let's see how that can be done. Let's switch back to ProjectWise Explorer. And this is the PDF document that we want to reference it into the Excel file. Select the PDF document, go to the address bar, and then right mouse click on it. Here we find there is the option of copying the URL or the URL. As we remember a few minutes ago, the URL is always the most preferable link to use compared to the URL. So let's go ahead and choose the URL. Let's switch back to the Excel file. We can go to one of the cells and then right mouse click, paste. So you can see how easy it is to reference a document into another file. There are a variety of apps, for instance, Microsoft Teams, as well as the web browsers, Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge, that can access ProjectWise documents. All we need is making sure that we are sending the correct links. Then the recipients receiving the links will be able to access the documents using the appropriate apps. Let's see how that can be done. First, select the document that we wish to share. Right mouse click, get link. Here, if we wish to share the link to those who want to access via Microsoft Teams, we can make sure that Teams is highlighted and selected, and then click copy. Then when we are in Teams, we can paste the link. The user that receives the message can just click on the link. So as we can see here, once the user click on the link in Teams, it will automatically navigate to ProjectWise and have the document automatically highlighted and launch it in Teams. So come to think of it, if we need to compile an email message and send out the different document links to the wide audience, this is what we can do. For those who need access to this document via the ProjectWise web, we can switch back to ProjectWise, right mouse click on the document, and then Get Link. Select the ProjectWise web, and then click Copy. Switch back to the Outlook message, and then right mouse click, Paste. And for those who need to have access to the same document, but via the ProjectWise web view, this is what we can do. Switch back to ProjectWise Explorer, select the web view option, and then click Copy. Switching back to the Outlook message, right mouse click, Paste. We also want the email message to have a link for those people who needs to access the document via Microsoft Teams. So let's go ahead and switch back to ProjectWise Explorer. Select Teams, and then click Copy. Now let's switch back to the Outlook message. Right mouse click, and then Paste. So as you can see here, we have an email message that is meant for different audience. A link to the ProjectWise document via ProjectWise web, another link to the same document via ProjectWise web view, and then finally a link to the ProjectWise documents for those who use Microsoft Teams. Similar to the way Teams access the ProjectWise documents, any user who click on the web link, it will launch the web browser and having the selected document highlighted. During this lesson, we have learned how ProjectWise links were generated to be used as desktop shortcut in an email, as well as referencing it in an Office document. We also learned how ProjectWise links could be accessible via different apps, such as Microsoft Teams, or the web browsers such as Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge. We also learned the difference between URL and URN links.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.